As a young farmer starting my farming journey, I'm quickly realizing that there are certain things that I have to look at differently than a lot of other farmers do. And one of those is the increased price in fertilizer and other inputs that are coming on our farming operation today. Fertilizer has really never been cheap. It's always been a balancing game of trying to put enough on while not spending too much money. And especially now with the war going on in Iran, fertilizer prices are really high, especially nitrogen, and they don't seem to be coming down anytime soon. And luckily, last year I took an initial investment and decided to start making my own nitrogen here at home. I'm gonna show you guys today all about it and how I plan to utilize it on my farm. So over the last few years, there's been a topic of discussion that you've probably heard about, and that is green lightning. So this ugly conglomeration right here is my green lightning machine. And essentially, I am taking nitrogen out of the atmosphere and putting it into water in this tank. It is the smallest one that they make. They call it the single head unit. It produces about 6,000 gallons a year, or so they claim 18,000 pounds of nitrogen. Now, the nitrogen that it produces varies greatly depending on your water quality, your atmospheric conditions, so on and so forth. I really wanted to get the next size bigger, which is a 36,000 gallon a year unit, or a 6-head unit. But I think all together with my reverse osmosis, my pressure tank back behind there, and the unit and everything here, I'm probably invested about $9,000 into this system total. If I wanted to upgrade to the next biggest one, it was like 44,000, which I was trying to partner with my dad and my brother and get a big one, but they weren't quite sold on it, so I ended up going for this little one just for myself. Now this system is very much thrown together, especially for this year. If this works really well, I hope to clean up and make my system more efficient here in the future. But for now, this is all I'm running. It just dumps the green lightning into a cage tank, which I then have a hose coming out to this little 12-volt DC pump. And then when the tank gets so full, I just pump it into my storage tanks. Now, I don't remember when I actually purchased the unit. It was sometime last summer. But right now, I am at about 3,800 gallons total stored. So this is a 3,000 gallon tank right here, and it is completely full. I've been filling this over the winter. And then these are two 750 or 800 gallon tanks. I honestly don't remember. And then this one is basically completely full, and this one is completely empty. So I'm gonna top this one off. You can see a little bit of room there at the top yet. Next time I empty this out, and then it'll start filling this one. So now you're probably thinking to yourself, Carson, that sounds really cool, but how does green lightning work? So during a natural lightning storm that happens outside, when a lightning strike happens, it actually breaks a triple bond that holds two nitrogen molecules together. And once those nitrogen molecules are freed, they quickly bond to an oxygen molecule and then get dissolved in the rainwater, creating a water droplet that has nitrate in it. And there's a ton of science videos out there that you can watch. I am not a science channel. I'm just gonna get it to you guys in a form that's simple enough for you to understand what is happening. So the green lightning machine has a chamber that takes compressed air, water, and electricity and basically creates a miniature lightning storm in the chamber, and then out of the bottom comes water that is high in nitrates. So I took a sample out of one of my storage tanks and sent it over to the lab, and sure enough, it has nitrate in it. So to show you guys that it actually does work, I took a sample out of one of my storage tanks, sent it into the lab, and well, here's the results. It does have nitrate in it. And then I also sent in a water test from the kitchen faucet in my house, which is softened water, but that's as far as that goes. Use it as a reference. So one of the most important numbers on the test for the green lightning is TDS, or otherwise known as total dissolved solids. Now in Canada, there's a dealer called Nitro. They're a retailer of the Green Lightning machines, and they say that if your TDS is between 200 and 500, that is roughly equal to 3 pounds of nitrogen, otherwise about the same as 2800 or 28% UAN. Which, based on the research that I've done and the trials that I have seen, I wouldn't just take as a fact. I mean, yeah, it might have that much nitrogen in it, but due to the form of the nitrate and the way that the product is made, it doesn't work the same as that 28% or 32% UAN that most farmers are used to. And I have a ton of results and trials here from other people that I'm going to show you guys and explain why. And now, as I start going through all this, you guys will probably have some questions. And I'm guessing there's going to be quite a few. So leave them down below in the comments. And if there's enough questions, I would love to make a follow-up video trying to answer your guys' questions. If there's more technical ones, hopefully I can reach out to somebody, find the answers. And if there's not enough questions to make a second follow-up video, I'll make sure to answer them down in the comments as best as I can. So let's get back to it. So what are the use cases for Green Lightning? What am I going to use it for? Well, I'll tell you this. Green Lightning, over the past few years that's been around, has a really hit or miss reputation. You go online into some forums like Ag Talk or the Combine Forum or even the marketing discussion on Facebook, and there are people that say they've had great luck with it, and then there's just as many people that say it's a hoax, it's a scam, they don't believe in it, they tried it, it was terrible. I actually did have, like right when it first came out, I had someone fairly local to me try it out and had really bad results. But I'm still optimistic because I think it really depends on the type of application that you do where you're actually going to see a lot of benefit. And in some ways, it's applications that you probably wouldn't really think of. So a really good place to learn more about Green Lightning is the Beck's PFR research and also the Precision Planting PTI farm. Both of them have done extensive trials on Green Lightning. PTI has done it for a few years now. I think Beck's this was their first year doing it, if I remember correctly. But either way, they've done a lot of trials and they've had a lot of success and also a lot of, well, frankly, failures. When Green Lightning first came out, a lot of people were thinking of it as a nitrogen replacer, so completely replacing your UAN or your anhydrous ammonia, your normal, urea, your normal sources for nitrogen that you would typically think of. But based on my research, that's not the case. And I'm going to go through some of the trials here that I have done some research on, what I think is the best use application for this new technology, especially on my farm. And then I'm going to go through how I plan to actually apply that, how I plan to use it and try to get the most benefit from it as I possibly can. So talking about using it as a total nitrogen replacement, in 2024, the PTI farm used Green Lightning as a total nitrogen replacement for a trial and saw nearly a 45 bushel an acre decrease in yield with similar results following in 2025. Now, in 2025, they tried to replace a partial amount of the nitrogen as well and saw poor results. However, in that trial, I did not see any specification on whether they mixed Green Lightning with the 32% UAN or if they were separate applications, which I'll get into in a minute, and it can actually make a really big difference. So how do I plan on using my Green Lightning if it doesn't work great for a total nitrogen replacement? Well, there's a lot of other studies too that show how you can gain a few extra bushels here and there really, really cheap. And the first way, put it in the furrow. This year I added these 2 tanks to my 12-row planter here and plumbed it up with a cheap electric pump and ran the tubes down here in furrow. I can do anywhere from probably 2.5 gallons per acre up to 10 gallons per acre. Probably gonna have to slow down a little bit if I wanna do 10 gallons per acre, but I have the ability to. And the best part about Green Lightning is because you're just taking normal water, running it through a softener, then reverse osmosis, and then putting it through this electric lightning chamber, there's no salt. There's basically zero salt content. So you don't need to worry about burning the seed, burning the crops, creating a salt stress. And also, if I have a leak or a spill or something, it's not going to corrode my planter. So in 2025, the PTI farm did a trial on exactly this, with roughly 6 bushel an acre increase using 4 to 8 gallons per acre in the furrow. Now, if you start pushing above that, you'll see a negative effect. However, they also did this study in 2024 and saw a negative result. But if you read on the side of the paper, and it says, and I quote, "The 2024 inconsistencies may be due to hard water issues or high calcium. And reverse osmosis treated water will be needed in these circumstances." And the dealer that I purchased the unit through, right when I bought it, informed me, he said, you need to run reverse osmosis through this machine in order to get the absolute best product you can possibly get. So I've been running a small, typically they go under like a kitchen, underneath the sink in the kitchen, if you add a little faucet for like drinking water. I just bought one of those. It's maybe a little bit too small, but it's doing a pretty good job. And if this works really good, I might buy a second unit in the future and then buy a bigger reverse osmosis machine to run them both. But since they said that in the 2024 results, I'm also going to assume that the 2025 results were taken the product was taken from a machine that was running reverse osmosis. And I think that's probably why they saw a lot better results in 2025 than they did in 2024. But also on top of that, the PTI farm did a trial where they used Green Lightning as a seed treatment instead of the typical 80-20 mixture that we typically use, a Telt graphite mixture. And they saw a 5 bushel increase. So I feel pretty confident running 5 gallons per acre in furrow, because not only, will it run in furrow, but hopefully it'll get contact in all those seeds as well and kind of act as a seed treatment for say. So, hopefully I can see 3.5 to 5 bushel increase just by doing that. And now along with that Green Lightning, I will be running Novonesis Torque in the tanks as well. I saw an 8.5 bushel increase from them last year. I also work with them. So great to see a product that's so easy to use that you can just throw in furrow or in your side dress rig. It's 1 ounce per acre. And I think the two would be a very good combination. I'm also planning on running some liquid compost, help get some organisms in that seed trench as well, get some stuff working in there. And I might be putting in a little bit of sugar. I'm not for sure yet on the sugar or how much I do, if I will. But either way, if I do put sugar in there, it's probably going to cost me, with the current corn price today around $4, probably going to cost me 2 to 4 bushels to run the most expensive in-furrow solution that I got. And if I just run Green Lightning and Torque, it's going to be more like a bushel per acre. It's a really cheap way to get some starter fertilizer in your furrow. So after I'm done planting, when I go and do my side dress pass, which is typically where I put most of my nitrogen on, I plan on also putting in some Green Lightning in a vaguely specific mixture, if that makes any sense. For some reason, and I don't think we really know why, like you saw earlier, Green Lightning always, when it's by itself, it performs poorly. But some studies have shown that if you mix it with UAN, either 28 or 32%, it does a pretty good job. So Beck's PFR did a study where they did a 50-50 blend of UAN and Green Lightning and saw some pretty promising results. Now, it was noted in the study that it did perform much better in areas that had high organic matters in the soil. So you'll see that the Minnesota and the Iowa test did much better than the rest of them, which is pretty lucky because I'm right on the border of Iowa and Minnesota, and we have some crazy high organic levels here. So I feel pretty confident in that. Also, my friend Levi, who helps me out in the fall sometimes, I'm sure some of you guys have seen him in the videos, his family had also purchased a Green Lightning machine. I think last year was their first year using it. And I don't remember what their blend ratio was of UAN and Green Lightning, but it wasn't quite as strong as 50-50. And I was told by him that they saw some really good results in it, and they're actually thinking about doing some 50-50 blends this year. So when I'm outside dressing my corn, I want to try a 70-30 ratio of 32% UAN or 3200 and Green Lightning. Now, there'll also probably be some ATS, some sulfur in there as well. But I think that's a good starting point for me to try out. Of course, I'm going to probably do some trials too, do a pass that's 100% UAN, and then do the mixture. Plans might change though a little bit, but if this is something that you guys want to follow along with and learn with me about it, make sure you guys get subscribed down below so that way you don't miss it. And I'm not planning on doing this on my farm, but if you're a farmer or an operation that likes to do foliar passes for, like your micronutrients and stuff, using it as a carrier looks like a really good option as well. PTI farm saw really good results in both 2024 and 2025. So I don't think I'm gonna make a foliar pass this year, but if I do, I'll probably use the Green Lightning in with that. And my last planned application of the Green Lightning nitrogen water concoction, whatever you want to call it, will be as a carrier for my fungicide pass. Now this one's really important because certain fungicides can be really picky about the pH of the water. If you go and use a water that has a pH of 9, say for example, the half-life of that fungicide, or basically the time it takes for that fungicide to be half as effective as it was before you mixed it in the tank, can go down to 2 minutes. So basically by the time you make a pass to the field, that fungicide has lost half its effectiveness, which is just obviously not a good plan of action for something that can be as crucial as fungicide like we saw here in 2025. Now my Green Lightning came back with a pH of 2.7, which I think is actually a little bit on the lower side, but I'd much rather have 2.7 than 7, 8, or 9. However, lots of fungicides will actually raise the pH of the water when you add it in. So I still have to do a jar test. I want to do create a mixture in a jar, put a pH strip in it and see what it comes out to. If it comes out to around that 5 area, I'm good. If I'm still a bit on the low side, there are some fairly cheap products that you can add to get that pH right where you want it. And that way you can make your fungicide way more effective. And also, because I'm starting with soft water that then goes through reverse osmosis, the water is coming out of that machine is very pure. So it's going to be able to be absorbed into the plant leaf a lot better than if you just took some well water and threw some AMS in it. If I had enough Green Lightning, I would use it as a carrier for all of my herbicide passes on corn, because I think that it would help everything get into the weed leaves a lot easier too, but frankly, I just don't have enough gallons to do that. So I'm trying to use it as effectively as I possibly can, where it's going to provide me, I think, the most ROI. So here in 2025, Beck's PFR did a research study on using Green Lightning as a carrier, and the results were pretty good. A 3.9 bushel an acre increase over just using straight water as a carrier, but I do want to point out they did not specify in this trial the pH or the hardness of the water that they were using in this study. So if they were already starting with pretty good water and then they put the Green Lightning in, it could have been the little bit of nitrogen that was applied late season could have also gotten that boost. We just don't know. That wasn't specified. I think that if you started with a pretty poor quality water, the gap will actually be a lot larger. So if you add up all the small bushel increases from planting to fungicide, I think that there is a lot of efficacy for this product. And of course, like I said, I'm gonna be trying it out this year. I do have the ability about halfway through the summer, if I'm not seeing results and the stuff just doesn't look that good where I put the Green Lightning, I can actually still return the machine. So not sponsored, I paid for it, and I can still return it if I don't like some of the results that I'm seeing partway through the summer. But I think there's a lot of promise for it. I think there's a lot of research that backs it up that if used correctly, can provide quite a bit of benefit. Now, one note that I want to make sure of, I want you guys to know, is that I have what I call, there's probably a better term for it, but I call it my nitrogen bill. Or when I'm going and deciding how much fertilizer to put on my corn every year, I'm going to put 160 pounds of nitrogen on this year, per se. Now, when I do my planter and my fungicide passes, I'm not taking the nitrogen applied off of that bill. So say I'm putting 160 pounds of nitrogen on my corn this year. When I get done planting at 5 gallons per acre, I'm not taking 15 pounds off. It's still going to be at 160. In the cases of the planter and with the fungicide, I'm viewing it more as a perfect water conditioner with the benefit of having a little bit of nitrogen in it. The only time where I'm actually going to be considering its nitrogen contents for my nitrogen bill is when I am using it with the UAN 32% side dressing. So that is all the research and plans that I have done for my corn. But what about other crops? So I'm not a small grains guy. I farm corn and soybeans. So if you want to learn more about small crops, and I have heard that there is a pretty big benefit in some small grains and other crops, Nitro would be a great website to check out. I'll leave their link in the description. That's not who I bought mine from, but I know they've done a ton of research, have a lot of great resources out there. So that'd be a good place to check out. But what about soybeans? Because that's what I grow. That's my second crop. Well, PTI did a Green Lightning In-furrow study in 2025 and actually saw some pretty decent results. Basically, in soybeans, the more gallons that you applied, the better it performed. But in 2024, they also did a study with soybeans. They did see a benefit from in-furrow there as well, but the ROI actually decreased when they used Green Lightning as a foliar application in soybeans. So I might be trying some out in-furrow on the soybeans as well. I still need to calculate with all these passes that I'm doing, my total gallons I'm using, because basically at the end of the year, I'm only going to have 6,000 gallons total. So I need to be able to, divvy it out where I think is best necessary. So I still have to figure out where I'm putting the most and whatever, and if I have some extra to maybe do a foliar pass in corn later and do some in-furrow in the soybeans. But I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to do good. I sure hope it does good. And like I said earlier, I want you guys to follow along. If this is something that interests you, if you want to have some cheap form of fertilizer to put in your crops to help raise your yield and your ROI, get subscribed, hit that bell button, make sure you don't miss any of the videos I'm going to be doing with this year. So there are some other questions that I know I have seen online that I've done a little bit of research into. The one is, well, what is the cost per gallon, right? So the machine that I bought, I think when I bought it was like $8,500 with my tanks and reverse osmosis. I'm into it about 10 grand. So, spread that over the amount of acres that you're planning on doing and the bushel increase you're planning on seeing. I'm guessing it'll probably pay for itself pretty quick. But what about the electricity and the water that it takes? Now, obviously, that's going to vary by region. But we have our own well, so I'm not paying a water bill. I don't have a water meter. It's actually at my parents' house because they have the heated shed. So I stored it there over the winter. But PTI Farm, they gathered that at an average, it probably costs about 4 cents a gallon, which is extremely cheap. So in electricity and water costs, I'm at about 20 cents a gallon, or 20 cents an acre. We've never really been a big starter fertilizer family or operation, but there's probably some people paying 20 to 30 bucks an acre for the liquid that's in their planter tanks. And the next question is this a viable source of nitrogen for organic crops? Now, when the Green Lightning first came out, that was a lot of the motivation behind a lot of people that purchased it was, well, it is organic nitrogen. It's atmospheric nitrogen. It's already in the air. You add a little bit of electricity to it, it turns into nitrogen water. Why couldn't I put this in furrow or spray it over top of organic corn? And that was a theory for a long time, but actually just really recently, whatever governing body decides what can and can't be certified organic, they actually voted it down, which I really don't understand because, according to everyone on the internet and on TV, electric is the way to go, right? It's the way to go for the environment. It's the nice, cleanest, best resource of energy that we have, whether you believe in that or not. And then they get this really cool source of nitrogen for organic crops that, if you ask me, is organic. But because a chemical process is happening, they voted it down, even though, in my opinion, it's a natural chemical process. So, unfortunately, as of now, it cannot be used for organic crops, which is a big bummer because I know there's quite a few people that purchased it expecting to use it for organic crops. Now, it doesn't mean that it might not get turned over in the future, but as of the making of this video, it's not OMRI certified. So I think that's where I'm going to leave this video for now. Let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think about green lightning? Do you think it's a scam? Do you think there maybe is something about it? Are you interested in it? Are you something you never want to see? And if there's a lot of questions, I would love to make a follow-up video. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll give it a little bit of time, and then if there's enough of them, I'll make a follow-up video. If there's not enough of them, I'll just answer them down in the comments. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.